It was all right there. The division. The moment. The chance to change everything. One win, and the door to the postseason cracked wide open. Before kickoff, the math was simple and unforgiving. Carolina sat on top of the NFC South, bruised but alive. Tampa Bay had just stumbled. Atlanta had already fired its shot. All the Panthers had to do was walk into New Orleans, handle business, then come home and finish the job. Win today. Win next week. Control the division. Control their future. Instead, everything unraveled. Carolina walked out of New Orleans with a 20-7 loss that felt heavier than the scoreboard. This wasn't just a defeat. It was a warning. Coming off a bye week, with extra time to prepare for a division rival, the Panthers looked flat, predictable, and outmaneuvered. As the game dragged on, it became clear this wasn't about effort, it was about direction. Dave Canales was outcoached. The Saints anticipated everything. Every adjustment Carolina needed came too late, or not at all. And yet, somehow, the season is still alive. Despite the loss, the Panthers still hold their fate in their own hands. Next week isn't just another game, it's a playoff game disguised as a regular season matchup. Tampa Bay comes to Carolina. Win that, and the division is still there for the taking. After that, Seattle at home. Another test. Another coin flip. This team has shown it can rise at home, just ask the Rams, who walked in confident and walked out stunned weeks ago. That's the frustrating truth of this Panthers team. They are capable of anything. Winning big. Losing ugly. Nothing is off the table. But what happened against the Saints can't be ignored. Offensively, Bryce Young did enough to win. Not flashy. Not explosive. But poised. Calm. Efficient. He threw for 163 yards, protected the football, and once again became the team's leading rusher, a quiet indictment of everything around him. When Carolina needed a spark, Bryce provided it with a moment of pure anticipation. A deep shot down the sideline, released before the receiver even broke. Jalen Coker wasn't open, Bryce threw him open. The ball dropped perfectly into space, where only Coker could reach it. Touchdown. That's the quarterback Carolina drafted. That's the vision. Coker led the way. Leggett chipped in. McMillan flashed. The pieces were there. But the plan wasn't. Carolina tried to establish the run, and the idea was right. The identity is supposed to live in the trenches. Money spent on the offensive line. 2 capable backs. A physical approach meant to wear teams down. But the execution was stale. Predictable dives. Straight-ahead runs. No misdirection. No creativity. No counters. No pulling linemen. The Saints had already seen this movie, and they knew exactly how it ended. By halftime, the offense felt trapped inside its own tendencies. Then came the decisions. The moments that define coaches. Chances to push. To steal points. To shift momentum. Instead, hesitation. Conservatism. A staff unsure whether to attack or survive. 1 week aggressive, the next week cautious, and this week, caught in between. This loss doesn't end Carolina's season. But it exposes the fault lines running through it. Because when the moment arrived, when preparation, creativity, and decisiveness mattered most, the Panthers blinked. This is the part of the season where excuses die. Late December football doesn't reward potential. It rewards conviction. And at this point, with the playoffs staring you in the face, there is no gray area. You chose Bryce Young first overall. That choice defines your franchise. So when the moment comes, you don't hesitate. You don't protect. You don't play scared. You go all in, because there is no other path forward. The Saints didn't walk into this game broken or defeated. They walked in dangerous. Teams with nothing to lose are the hardest teams to face. Their seasons might be over, but their pride isn't. Every snap is an audition. Every play is film for the next contract. Every hit is personal, especially against a division rival. They didn't want Carolina to celebrate. They wanted Carolina to feel exactly what they felt all season long. And the Saints played like it. Carolina didn't. Bryce Young had moments where you could see the future. Calm in the pocket. Smart with the football. But this wasn't a clean performance. Late in the game, a throw sailed high to the shoulder of a receiver, a ball that forced difficulty where there shouldn't have been any. Bryce has shown he can make those throws work, but that doesn't make them right. The middle of the field remains underused, under-attacked. That's not just on the quarterback. That's on the plan. That's on the design. That's on the coaching staff failing to give their young quarterback answers when the defense tightens the screws. Then there were the penalties. 11 of them. Coming off a bye week. That's not rust. That's lack of discipline. One false start alone wiped out an entire drive before it ever had a chance to breathe. This offense isn't built to recover from mistakes. It has to stay on schedule. It has to stay clean. When it doesn't, everything collapses. And the defense? That's where frustration turns into disbelief. Soft coverage. Over and over again. Against one of the most sudden route runners on the field, Carolina backed off. Cushion after cushion. Free releases. Easy throws. You pay elite corners to erase space, not surrender it. You don't put a premium defender on the field just to watch him retreat at the snap. This team is built to play press man. To challenge routes. To force timing disruptions. To make quarterbacks uncomfortable. Instead, Carolina played like it was afraid of getting beat deep, and in doing so, they gave up everything underneath. Slants. Crossers. End breakers. Pitch and catch football, right on schedule for New Orleans. The touchdown that sealed it told the whole story. Off coverage. Missed tackle. End zone. Game over. This defense lives on a dangerous philosophy, bend but don't break. When it works, it looks brilliant. When it fails, it bleeds slowly and painfully. Yard by yard. Drive by drive. And when the turnovers don't come, when the defense doesn't steal possessions, the cracks become impossible to hide. Against elite quarterbacks, they survived on takeaways. Without them, the structure collapses. This game exposed a truth Carolina can't ignore: you cannot rely on miracles every week. You cannot wait for turnovers to save you. And you cannot play scared football in December. Because when the pressure rises, whatever you truly are, disciplined or sloppy, aggressive or passive, will always show. This version of football won't survive January. A defense that bends and waits for turnovers is living on borrowed time. It might survive a random Sunday. It might steal a game or two. But against playoff-caliber quarterbacks, or even next week against Baker Mayfield and a fully healthy Buccaneers offense, it becomes a liability. Tampa Bay has too many weapons to play passive. You can't sit back. You can't wait. You have to challenge them at the line of scrimmage and live with the consequences. If Mike Evans is healthy, the decision should be instant. Put your best corner on him. No hesitation. No safety net. Trust it. Because if this defense doesn't create chaos, it collapses. The linebackers are the weak point, and every offense knows it. Christian Roseboom has improved against the run, and that matters, but improvement doesn't equal dominance. He's not a sideline-to-sideline enforcer. He's not erasing tight ends over the middle. When he's isolated in space, quarterbacks circle him and attack without mercy. Screens wash him out. Blocks end plays before they start. Effort is there, but limitations are loud. Trayvon Wallace isn't much different. He can rush occasionally, but drop him into coverage and it's an invitation. That's not his game. And offenses exploit it. This defense misses impact at the second level. Real impact. The kind that forces quarterbacks to hesitate. The kind that erases the easy throws. Without that, everything underneath stays open, and once that happens, the entire structure breaks down. Up front, Derek Brown is doing everything humanly possible. He's dominant. He's relentless. He commands double teams, sometimes triple teams, and still finds ways to disrupt games. But one man can't wreck an offense alone. When edge pressure doesn't arrive, quarterbacks step up, reset, and pick apart the middle of the field. The edge rush is young. Talented, maybe. But not ready to tilt games yet. So even when sacks show up on the stat sheet, the pressure isn't consistent enough. And against injured offensive lines, that's alarming. Because if you can't dominate there, you won't dominate anyone. We've seen this movie before. When defenses stop threatening deep and stop winning quickly up front, smart coaches adjust. They stop forcing the ball downfield. They live underneath. Tight ends. Running backs. Crossers. Slants. Checkdowns that turn into chain movers. That's how games quietly slip away. And that's why this moment matters. Because despite everything, the loss, the frustration, the inconsistencies, the Carolina Panthers are still standing. Still breathing. Still in control of their fate. This is the fork in the road. For Bryce Young, this may be the biggest game of his career so far. Not because of stats. Not because of highlights. But because of weight. He was drafted to carry moments like this. To steady the room. To answer when the season demands clarity. He doesn't have to be perfect, but he has to be present. Decisive. Fearless. For Dave Canales, this is why he was hired. This is the test. Facing a familiar opponent. A familiar system. A coach who knows him, and whom he knows just as well. This isn't about surprises. It's about conviction. Attack the middle of the field. Feature your playmakers. Put pressure on the defense early and often. Stop waiting for things to happen, make them happen. Because these final weeks will define everything. Win the division, and this season becomes a statement. The first playoff appearance in years. Proof of direction. Proof of belief. Fall short, and the questions grow louder. This team didn't come this far just to stall now. Control what you can control. Win at home. Finish the story. And let the rest of the league find out what happens when opportunity meets urgency. Because destiny is still in Carolina's hands. And now, there's nowhere left to hide.